Today is January the 19th, and I'm walking in my favorite park, which is Crotona Park. I think I've been in a house, my apartment, for the past few days, watching the news reports, talking to folks, making travel arrangements to go to Altadena, to go to Los Angeles. January 7th, that's when the Eaton Canyon fire started. I remember telling my friend on the phone, texting him, who lives up in that area near Mountain Park, that there was a fire starting in Eaton Canyon. The first images that I had seen were images of senior citizens being evacuated from the senior citizen home on Washington and I think Altadena Drive. And I had a great aunt, Corrine Preston, who was there for a number of years, about 20 years ago. So I immediately recognized the area, and my mother lives over there in that area. So it brought up a lot of emotions, seeing that the fire was traveling so quickly and that it was over there in that area. I guess I went to sleep, and by the next day, started hearing more reports that it was traveling. I wasn't sure about any damage yet, and it didn't set in, I think, until the 9th. My friend told me that his mom's house had burnt down. I didn't know that it was doing that much damage. We've seen fires before in California, in San Gabriel Valley, Angels National Forest. There was one in 1993 that caused a significant amount of damage, but we were obviously unprepared, and no one in the community saw this disaster coming. And several friends have lost homes, childhood friends. Friend Natalie Ganther, my prom date, her home was spared on Harriet and Lincoln. Community members have lost homes. Just found out the other day that my 89-year-old cousin lost two of his homes, near Marengo and Mariposa, which is directly north of the Mountain View Cemetery. I was disappointed to hear that Michelle Zach, one of Altadena's most treasured citizens and writers and historians, she lost her home. Classmate Zaire Calvin, he lost his sister in the fire. For me, the most disturbing story was hearing about the 95-year-old lady who had gotten released from the hospital, and she was taken home, and they found half of her skull, and they found her with her eyeglasses still on. For me, I know the dangers of fire all too well. Lost a sister in 2005 to a fire in South Central Los Angeles, and she was charred beyond recognition. Over 4,000 homes gone, businesses, over 8,000 or 9,000 structures total. It is truly a miracle that more people did not get injured. And Altadena is so beautiful. I always tell people it was like a paradise to me. The best place that I could have grown up. Living here in the Bronx for over a decade, I've always walked through this area where I'm walking through now, which is Crotona Park, Indian Lake. This is my sanctuary from all of the drama and chaos and violence that takes place in the Bronx and that I've heard of, witnessed, and recorded. So this place right here, Crotona Park, Indian Lake, has been my sanctuary for over a decade that I've lived here off and on. And it is the closest thing that reminded me of Altadena. Growing up at the foothills of the San Gabriel Valley Mountains, hiking with my childhood friends, Teddy, Randy, Mark, Monty, and my brother Milton, and numerous other individuals, including David Rivera. It was something I always looked forward to on the weekends. And my family living north of JPL, having JPL in my backyard and being down there at Millard Falls A kid couldn't have asked for a better experience growing up, even though our community did deal with a significant amount of violence and drama and trauma in itself. I still found nature to balance it all out, as I'm finding it here in the Bronx still. Where will we be without nature? Where will we be without these environments where we can go and escape and enjoy the awesome creations that we could never create? And now we deal with the community coming together like never ever before and rebuilding and sifting through the remains and sharing stories and looking forward to a better and a brighter day. And in the next few days, I will be taking off to travel to Los Angeles. Gonna volunteer, maybe take care of some pets, offer emotional support, listen to stories, write some stories. I'll attempt to go hiking, possibly through the JPO area, the area where I grew up at. A heaviness like never before, and I've dealt with grief and a lot of heaviness. And I've been working on a memoir for the past decade, and it starts at Altadena. And I had recently won a writing award from the New York State Council on the Arts for a chapter of my book. And now this happens. And I had also been in the process of working on a documentary. And I was in California for December 2023, January 24, February 24, I was out there. And I didn't get to film like I wanted to. And my only regret now is not filming my first homes, which was at 544 West Altadena Drive. That location is destroyed, as well as my second childhood home, which was at 321 West Palm Street. That's destroyed. It would have been nice to get some video footage while I was there, but the circumstances didn't work out in my favor and I was unable to. To see the skies turn black and all of the smoke, the images are just amazing. I'm learning so much more about our community, learning so much more about Black history. I'd never seen that many Black folks in Altadena in my life. I'm like, where do all these Black people come from? These Black people couldn't have possibly been living in Altadena. Where have they been? Although I haven't been there in a decade. You know, this is America. The media, majority of times you hear about Black folks in the news as if it's a crime or some type of police brutality or racism, or they're not positive images and they're not positive stories. And it's unfortunate that it took a natural disaster for the media to descend on a historically Black community and to profile them and to engage them in dialogue and to document their stories and their lives. Yes. But I'm looking forward to traveling to Los Angeles to engage with the community and to walk around the neighborhood and to kick up some of the ashes and take it all in. I saw images of my childhood friend Randy in front of his home near Woodbury and Glenrose, and I had never seen, that look on his face.